Assalamu alaikum guys, in this video we'll learn how to implement passwordless authentication. From its name, it's authentication without entering your password or even without having passwords in the database. For example, here in my users table, I have no password column, and one of the most famous applications that uses passwordless authentication is Medium. So if I go here and I will say sign in with my email, I will provide my email here, and they will send me a magic link to log in. So if I go here to my email, I will refresh. Here they send me this link, right? And if I click on it, and it, by the way, will expire in 2 hours. If I click on it here, it will be authenticated and works correctly, right? So let's start. First of all, as we can see, I have implemented 2 endpoints. First one for sending magic link, second one for logging in. And let's start with sending a magic link. As we learned from a previous video, you can watch it from here. We will generate a temporary link, but first of all, we need to make validation. So I have created this send magic link request, and I will say it must be emailed and required here email, and it must be exists in my users table in email column, right? So let's test this validation. Here in my send magic link, I will send this email and it passed. Let's try with fake email. Here selected email is not valid. Now let's generate our URL. I will say here URL and temporary signed root, and I will use the login or passwordless login here. I will sign it, so passwordless. Let's copy it actually here, and it will expire after 2 hours or even 1 hour. I will say add hour here, and I want to pass the email parameter. Here email will be request email, then I will return response JSON. I will say success or message here, check your email, and here I have created a send magic link mailable class. Here implements or extends mailable, and I must pass URL parameter, and here I am sending it using magic link view. So I will open this view here, just your magic link is, and I am using the log as my email driver here. Mailer is log to send it to Laravel.log file. This file here, it will send here, right? Just for development. So if I go back to my controller, I will first dump the URL here, and let's resend it again. I will fix the email, and as we can see here, author.test our domain /API /the login root here. But if you notice, the URL has been encoded, so I will decode it back again. Just I will say here URL decode, URL decode. Instead of these symbols, I will see the original data. Now send, as we can see, email add, and it works correctly. Now let's send our email. So I will say mail to request email, send the send link or send the magic link mailable class, this class here, and it takes a parameter URL decode as a string of URLs that we want to send. Let's use new here, and now let's try send the magic link. Let's check our Laravel log, and as we can see, your magic link is this email or this URL, and subject login URL here, login URL, and it works correctly. So we don't use it anymore. So I will close this file, and I will try to test this URL back again here in my login. I will pass it also, remove this AMP, and remove this again. Now let's test it. Send request, it returns 200. If I go back to my API, I will open my login controller to implement it. So I will die and dump request all here. Now login again, send. As you can see, email, expires, and signature. Now we need to validate this signature. So back to our API, and I will say middleware signed. Let's back and test it again. Login, send request, and it's invalid. And the reason behind that is we used the URL encoded here. So I will remove it. And now let's try to send another email again. Send the magic link again. Now I will check my email and I will copy the link as it. And login, copy. Just use this AMP because of the logging file. Now if I try to send it again, now it works correctly. And if I die and dump the request all here, dd request all, send again, as you can see, it's encoded and works correctly. Now I will say user equal to user first where here email request email, or even we can say query email because send via URL. If we want to, we can validate it also here using email required email, and like in the send magic link must be exists in user's email column. Let's resend it again. Works correctly. Back to our login, and I will check a port. If not user with 44, and if user exists, I will say here was login using ID with this user, or even we can use login directly for user instead of user ID, and then we can return response message here, JSON logged in successfully, for example, message logged in. So back and try again, logged in, and if I try to manipulate the file or email, it's 403 or invalid signature also, as we can see. And if, for example, I try to manipulate the user in my database here, try again, email is invalid, so it's very good validated actually. Now let's fix it again. Send request, logged in. If I die and dump here, dd current authenticated user email was user email as an example, send request again, and as we can see, it works correctly, right? For API, you may need to generate token. For session, you may generate session and so on, and you can follow your mechanism. I just show it as an example. So it's not completely authentication, just temporary logging in. Here's quickly how to implement passwordless authentication in Laravel. If you found it useful, support me by clicking on like, share, and subscribe. See you in next video.